There are queues again due to fuel scarcity. And in one way or the other, everyone is still going to be affected by this. This is not the first time we are seeing this kind of thing in the country, and I do not want to say this will not be the last time. All right, then. This is the dailies right here in the Kolyamzat studio at Kidibu 88.7 FM Ibadan. My name is Wuraola Yusuff, and as it is the norm, I'll be taking you through the front pages of our daily newspapers. What do we have in the papers today? What happened yesterday up until this morning? And how do these things, how do they affect and concern us as citizens of Nigeria living in this country or not? I'll be starting from the Punch newspaper this morning. Yes, my name is Wuraola Yusuff. All right then, on page 2 and page 28 of the Punch newspaper. Page 26, page 2 and page 26. We have this story saying NNPC reports a 9.3 trillion naira petrol import as queues linger. The first writer to the story says petrol subsidy gobs 3.3 trillion naira. NNPC incurs a 1.8 trillion naira energy security cost. Another writer says Port Harcourt, Warri Depot receive a PMS. Task force arrest black marketers. On page 25, producers decline sale of 460,000 barrel per day crude to Dangote. Others. Page 25 has details to that story. Right now on page 25 still, domestic airlines ground 42 aircraft over forex shortage. Page 14 says Akume, Edon, lead local government autonomy implementation panel. Alright then, moving on, we have this one saying 5 banks budget 222 billion naira for cyber security. APC kicks as a PDP backs call for Jonathan's return in 2027. Page 14 has details to that story. Alright then, moving on to the front page of the Guardian newspaper. This one says, Appeal Court affirms Shaibu as Edo Deputy Governor overturns Bello's ruling. NNPC's OPEX salary hit 2.9 trillion naira in 2023, up by 70%. Northern leaders meet over region's future. And this one is a report on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper saying Tinubu's foreign trips cost Nigeria 2.3 billion naira in 6 months. Do not provoke strike with the handling of Ajaro's invitation. NLC cautions the police. And on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, this one is still on the issue of Ajaro saying, we won't be silenced. This is over the police invitation to Ajaero. Police again failed to arraign protesters, says activist Adeyanju. Alright, this story is alongside others what we have to talk about this morning with, of course, Maestro in the studio. Good morning, Maestro. You're welcome.
Good morning. My pleasure.
Alright then, I hope the fuel issue didn't...
No, from my angle, I don't see any queues. That's the truth. I was wondering where it's coming from.
Okay.
Because, going and coming from my axis, people are just driving in and buying, but it's expensive. That's the difference.
So. But the NNPC alongside this route, there's
you see,
a long
there will
queue.
be queue in NNPC. It's much cheaper.
Oh, okay.
It's much cheaper than 900, 850, 800. If you're buying from NNPC, you're probably buying around maybe 650, 700. So that's a difference of about 200 from those who are buying 900. 150. That's how it scales down.
So that is the key. All right.
So
then.
Again, we must emphasize that whatever it is too expensive, number one. And number two, the truth is that there is fuel.
There is fuel.
There is fuel.
But if man is saying that NNPC is not giving them anything.
Don't listen to these guys. Look, I've been doing this for a very long time. Some of them even know us. Don't just go and find your own truth. Because what they are doing is to ensure they frustrate anything that could bring down the cost of that pump price. And you know they have their foot soldiers in the media who are going to be constantly dishing out precisely what they want. There is fuel, but it's very expensive. Even where we say it's cheapest, it's expensive.
That's not supposed to be the price.
So we should put it in perspective.
All right then. We have this one because NNPC is saying that 9.3 trillion naira petrol importation is still going on, but we're still having this queues. And we have this one on petrol subsidy, Maestro. Petrol subsidy gulps 3.3 trillion naira. We're still talking about petrol subsidy at this point.
People have been talking about it since the following day it was announced to have been removed. And so I was wondering if it was removed or if it wasn't removed.
I mean,
no, let's listen out. And so I started tracking the conversation. And what I discovered was that government came out at some point to say, well, substantially, subsidy had been removed, but that it's still in progress. The final removal is in progress. That's what I read from them. Okay, the people who are accusing them of having returned subsidy, that doesn't make any sense to me. The reason it does not make any sense to me is if you are sharing trillions, you know, like 40% more than what you were earning before, for instance, some of the southwest states are getting 50% more than what they were getting. So where is the money coming from? From the throne of grace? It has to be from subsidy. So the valid position is that they've largely removed subsidy.
Largely, not totally.
Maybe about 70%, but there's still some subsidy going on. That's what makes a little sense to me. The idea that they have surreptitiously returned subsidy, it doesn't make any sense at all. Because if they returned it, then where are these people getting so much money from? All the states of the federation. There are some states that were getting like 5 billion before. They're now getting like 11 billion. Some states before they were getting 2 point something billion. Now they are getting like 8-9 billion. So that money comes from that subsidy removal.
Okay.
But the truth is that many of us don't take the pains, you know, to understand our situation, that what's actually happening to us, and that we should understand those things before we could meaningfully engage. And that's been a bother. That's been a huge problem.
All right, then. We have this one concerning the Dangote refinery. Yesterday, or I think 2 days ago, it's been in the news like that, that they're going to start supplying Dangote by next month. This one is a news saying oil producers under the aegis of Independent Petroleum Producers Group have warned against being forced to sell crude oil to the Dangote Petroleum Refinery and other local ones in Nigeria.
Well, I don't understand what they mean by, you know, we need to understand what they mean by being forced. You know, because if you are doing business in Nigeria and we have a scheme that could turn around the Nigerian economy in favor of the people of this country, and you are insisting on maximum profit, where you could maybe take some hit, yes, where you've been having like 150% before, you're now coming down to 70% or 50% for this moment, and you are saying that's some kind of coercion, then I believe that the federal government has powers, you know, to also ensure that you go and do some other business. If for once in your lifetime, the comfort of the people of this country, the poor people of this country, does not matter to you, and you are talking from the angle of serious opulence, owing to now taking over what used to belong to all of us, then maybe you should be replaced. You know, where you are making so much noise. Maybe the interest of the people of this country should, for once, take pride of place. That's the much I understand about what they are saying. You can't force us to sell to Dangote. Because if you force us to sell to Dangote, we will not make as much profit as we would, have made. Therefore, we don't want to sell to him. Unless, of course, we go and revert to, dollar, because we want to do business in dollars.
And make more money.
So don't force us to sell to Dangote. Well, I think government should force them to sell to Dangote because
they should be forced.
Because it benefits millions of Nigerians. We are talking about, this economy as if, nothing at all could be done to make it better. So if you are going to be in a position, if you are going to be a frustrating influence, a frustrating factor on this kind of move, then go to where they spend dollars, where the currency is dollars, and do your business there. Because people often forget that for you to even do this lucrative, highly lucrative business you are talking about, it is this same government that gave you the license to go ahead and operate. And that government, well, for whatever it is, what belongs to the people of this country. And if for once we are now saying this is the leeway, take a little heat and let the pump price come down so that we can carry on. And you're saying, no, life always has to be sunny, for you. I think government should do whatever is necessary to ensure that it hits its own goals.
One of the other things I said is that NNPCL should redirect its allocated crude oil volumes to Dangote refinery and other local refineries themselves to mitigate the current crude supply shortage being experienced by local refineries that is impacting local product availability in many parts of Nigeria.
There is no cause for that advice. Nobody even needs it. What we want you to do is to sell crude to Dangote and make marginal profits. Profits which will not kill your organizations. Because you see, most of these people, they are like, when you go into their lofty offices, do you know what you'll find there? Very posh, very few people, scanty. The offices are almost always quiet, but you are talking about multi-million-dollar offices. In this high-rise Ikoyi or VI quarters, they don't employ labor. So all these things come to them directly. I have someone I worked with, a boss, in the oil sector. As soon as I graduated and finished service, I worked with him. Till today, he's one of the biggest players. The point is, I just look at how he does the magic. This is our office here. The total number of staff, all of us put together, we went up to 10 at any point in time.
Not up to 10.
And the business that we're talking about multi-million-dollar businesses constantly, lifting crude, doing this and that.
Did they even need you there in the first place?
That's how I got to know the nappings of this world. Nobody knows all this. Nappings, ADAX, this and that. That's all and I was always wondering, just one person. So later on, when I started progressing in my career and I come to places like this, that that the income, the profit at the end of the day is modest. Yet you have all these people working in the place, yet the people who are making mad money, they have just about 5-6 people. And they are the people now saying, we will not sell to this person. We won't make life easier for you guys because we must have our profit.
So, but you're saying the federal government can actually force them to sell to Dangote?
Well, I won't use the word force, but federal government has the powers of coercion.
Okay.
It has the powers of it has tremendous powers of persuasion, to ensure that it scores its own goals. Because the goal of the federal government in this instance should be eventual reduction in pump price. So any obstacle in the path of such a goal should be removed.
Should be removed. All right then. There is this story saying that the management of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority has issued an operational license to Edo Refinery and Petrochemical Company Limited. So they've issued operational license to Edo Refinery, and also this one says NNPC have supplied petrol to the Port Harcourt and Warri depot as it strives to tackle lingering fuel queues witnessed nationwide. So,
Yeah, let's let them keep their foot on the pedal. Let's see how this goes. But we want to see Dangote Refinery.
We want to see Dangote
roll out so that we can now track the difference it will make.
But this is something coming in from Port Harcourt.
It's good. Let's have more refineries. Let's have more refineries. Let people. This is an oil-producing nation.
More functional refineries.
So let's have the refineries roll back into life, and then let the profits be marginal. Because as soon as we begin to pursue profit, without restraint, then the pump prices will not go down. But if government is really, really active and insistent, the pump price will go down. And that's all we are interested in, because we know that pump price is connected to our lives in a lot of ways. So the moment it comes down, things are going to be different.
Quite a lot of things.
It will be different.
And people will feel the impact. All right, then. That is about that. I would like us to move on to the story of NLC. I don't want to say NLC versus federal government right now, because we have the NLC saying different things in the newspaper this morning concerning Joe Ajaro's issue. Talking about the fact that they cannot be silenced, and also they are threatening a mass action if what? We have to go pay some bills now. We were back, continuing the conversation in the studio, and be picking it up from Joe Ajaro's issue. All right, we'll be back.
Akidibo 88.7 FM.
Wow! Your baby is here! Congratulations!
Do not waste time. Put your baby to breast within the first 1 hour of delivery to give that first yellowish milk colostrum. Colostrum has all the important nutrients your baby needs to start a healthy life. Colostrum also helps to protect your baby against diseases. Remember, put your baby to breast within the first 1 hour of delivery. This message is from the ANRIN Project or your state's Ministry of Health.
I'm in love. Sonia tomato mix, stand up. Easy to open, easy to squeeze, easy to scoop, and easy to stir.
Sonia tomato mix in a new stand-up pouch.
Adekunle Ajasin University Ibadan campus Togun Wati Mufulani College of Education Ibadan Lagos Express Road Ọ̀rẹ́méjì Axis Ibadan lọ enroll báyìí courses tó bá wù ọ́ ní ọ̀yàn láàyò ló bá gba certificate lẹ́yìn àgùnbánirọ̀ English language political science accounting economics computer science biology health human kinetics social studies religious studies àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ sáré pé o ní 5 credits tó ní maths and English nínú Mondays to Friday lẹ́kọ́ ọmọ ìparí ọ̀sẹ̀ ní tàwọn tó wà lẹ́nu iṣẹ́ Saturdays and Sundays AAUA management lóńtẹ̀ gbà postgraduate diploma PGD in education ó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ báyìí o ní Mufulani College of Education in affiliation with Adekunle Ajasin University Akungba Akoko Ondo State gba fọ́ọ̀mù báyìí lélẹ́wùrà Community Grammar School number 1 Baálé Elewura Street Elewura Challenge Ìbàdàn àti ní Mufulani College of Education Ìbàdàn gbogbo student tó fẹ́ wọlé AAUA wọ́n ti gbọ̀rọ̀ yín ro fọ́ọ̀mù ti di 5,000 báyìí ó ti kúrò ní 10k 45,000 ní school fees ó ti kúrò ní 50k nítorí bẹ́tù ọ̀rọ̀ àjẹsẹ̀rí láfijáwọ̀ ń wálẹ̀ telephone 07031551555 website www.aauaibadancampus.com.
To prevent diarrhea and other diseases, especially in children, wash your hands with soap under running water, particularly after using the toilet. After cleaning your baby's bum, before preparing your baby's food, and before and after feeding your baby. If your child has diarrhea, give zinc tablets once a day, plus ORS every 4 hours, or frequently in small sips from a cup, so that your child will replenish lost nutrients and regain strength. Also, visit the nearest health facility to get treatment for diarrhea. This message is from the ANRIN Project Oyo State Ministry of Health.
Akitibo 88.7 FM.
All right, you're welcome back. In case you're just joining us, this is the Dailies, and to not forget that we're also live on Facebook where you get to watch us. All right, NLC threatens a strike, protest against police invitation of Ajaero on alleged terrorism financing. And according to them, they said that they said the invitation is based on a politically motivated investigation. And also we have their lawyer writing the IGP as requesting August 29 for the interview, saying they had quite a short notice for the letter that was written to Ajaero. Well, the emergency meeting that was held yesterday, they concluded that if this goes on, they are going to have a mass action, that there's going to be a strike action against what they call something that is politically motivated.
Now, just imagine every time the police, invites anybody in our country, we should go to our different communities and threaten that we will go on strike. We will do whatever we have in our powers, to ensure that, we threaten that police action. I don't think this, that it is right. That is the right approach, to. All right, thank you. I don't believe it's the thing to do. Sincerely, I don't think it's what NLC should be doing at all. And what NLC should be doing is to follow the process. Follow the process to ensure that they don't do anything that they should not do by law.
Okay.
And I think they are pursuing that in a way, because I believe that Mr. Femi Falana SAN has been NLC's lawyer for a long, long time. For as far as I could remember, he's been the NLC lawyer. And so they're doing the right thing by going in that direction. That, okay, let's see what the law says. And I think they are in good hands.
Falana's hands, good hands.
So that they're in good hands. So I don't think they should go in that other direction to be threatening that, because then it is useless. It's just like Donald Trump going into an election, and they ask him, if you lose this election, would you, accept defeat and congratulate the winner? And he says no. That if he lost the election, it must be because he was rigged out. But what if you win? Then he says, then the election must have been done properly. So you cannot have it both ways. You can't play both sides of the field. It's either you want to use your powers as NLC, or the powers to call people to down tools for just about any reason, or you want to flow with the path of law, which Mr. Falana is championing for you. So you can't have both.
They said whenever Ajaero is going to the police station, they are going to follow him en masse. And if need be, if things get out of hand, the police should be prepared to arrest and detain as many of them as
they're
possible.
making a lot of mouth. That's what we do. And Nigerians, we make a lot of mouth. And I think the Mr. Falano SAN would advise them properly.
Caution them.
He will advise them properly that it's probably not necessary to do that. Because you have to show something before you detain people, even as bad as this country is today. Are you going to now say, okay, Ajaero, we don't know why we are detaining you, but we are detaining you anyway? I don't believe that will happen this day and age. It used to happen in the past too. When government picked you in the past, there was no reason needed. They just got picked, and then you started slugging it out.
I know we'll start talking about your
As
rights.
a matter of fact, quite, a short distance into the Buhari administration, the DSS was still, breaking judges' doors in Rivers State. I remember that clearly. They were still in courts, arresting people, creating, chaos inside the courtroom.
Courtroom.
Yes. So, but we haven't seen any of that with this administration. I don't think it wants to go down that path because it will be really reprehensible. So I want to know what I'm waiting to know is what Ajaero did, to warrant being labeled terror sponsor. I want to know. I'm interested in knowing what the police.
And how.
So if they come out and show us something, wouldn't that be interesting? Otherwise, leave the man alone to carry on with his job, and then it will still be all over their faces. Whatever it is, if they are not able to show something at the end of the day, even after this coming this far, I don't think the police will not be covered in gallants.
Okay, and we have some global workers group raising alarm over what they describe as escalating attacks on the trade union movement in Nigeria.
It's nonsense.
We also have the NLC themselves saying that a second.
It's 7 a.m. on Agidigbo 88.7 FM.
We also have the NLC saying that they will not be silenced by state-sponsored harassment, intimidation, attacks, and persecution. And Maestro, let's just look at it from the angle of the labor unions. Is there anything, like in the movement of the government, that is making it seem as if they are trying to impede the movement and whatever it is that NLC stands
You
for?
tell me if you have seen any such thing. Tell me if you have seen that. No, let's have a discussion on that.
No.
So if you haven't seen that, you know that they are just spinning these things. And I am still insisting. Look, I can write a whole book of a minimum of 100 pages on the flaws, the faults, the corruption in Nigeria police. I can do that easily. I can do same about government. These things are solid. But you see, issues come in pieces. That is why we're sitting down here. I can answer all your questions before you ask them, and tell you that if we restructure, everything will be fine and we go home. But because we're dealing with individual issues, with their merit, that's why we are entertaining all these things as if we don't know what Nigeria is. We know what Nigeria is. We know that the NLC itself is corrupt. We know that, government in, government out, we see corruption everywhere. We know all that. But look, that police is still our police. So anybody who has another police could talk in another vein. So we are going to be engaging this police to get better and better until we have the kind of police that we want and that is good for us. But for the police to say, come and answer questions, and then we make it into a labor issue. There are two different things.
Political issue.
There are two different things. It's not a labor issue. As as we sit down here today, it is not a labor issue. When the police calls you, you go there and answer the questions.
No matter who you are.
So when you finish answering the question, you might go home. But if they now say, look, oh, you can't go home, oh, then we begin to say why. And it's either they are going to take you to court the following day, in which case we have a cause to. But for us to be raising issues because the NLC president was invited by the police, he wasn't even arrested.
It was invited.
And the first thing they were saying was that they have detained him. They were making a lot of noise. Now, this guy was invited to come and clarify things, right? That's what the police does all the time. But sometimes they will invite you with a very cool voice. When you get there, you won't be able to go back home. We understand that. And that is the point we will ask questions. What has he done? But supposing the NLC does not have this kind of power, what would have been? As it happens to many of us. Look, do you know how many times I've been arrested by the police? Not stealing, not doing anything, just in line of duty. And so what would I do then? Without having the power to be making the kind of noise they are making. So it's part of the problems of the country that the police will say come, and then NLC will go into that labor activism. Does it make any sense? What are you doing activism over? Nothing. As at now, there is nothing that activism is about. Oh, we will cause strike. We will bring everything down. Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely empty. But when we now get there and they say, you can't go because these are the things you did, then won't we be interested in knowing what Ajaero did? I'm not a fan of Ajaero, but I wouldn't want Ajairo's rights to be breached.
Just like you say yesterday.
That's the point. I can't, because if you do it to Ajaero today because I don't like his face, tomorrow you are coming for me. But if I fight to ensure that you are not able to do it to Ajaero, I have some buffer zone. So before you get to me, I will stop it. And that's how society should work.
But Maestro, yesterday we talked about something, I think, concerning the presidential jet. And then you told us that Orijuri.
Yes.
Do you think that is why the NLC are saying, no, that is our president and we will allow you to do this?
So is their president as big as the other president? So if we are still saying the Orijuri thing is still not even anywhere. In any case, which Ori? The Ori in
NLC president.
Is he representing all the NLC people? They are even in conflict. And they throw chairs to become, is in their record. So they are not like saints. But that's not even the focus. The focus here is the police invited you.
Invitation.
So go there. As a matter of fact, he shouldn't even have called Falano. He should have notified Falano that, look, these people are, and say, go there, let's see. He should have gone there. But then, on the other hand, I understand that, if you don't flex muscles a little bit, sometimes you might get in trouble. But not to the extent of threatening they will go on strike. You see how useless this thing is. You have the power to go on strike. You use that power, to get more money for minimum wage. It's still the same power that you are now saying we would still go on strike if you're making it look so useless. You're weakening that power, which is weak anyway already. So you're further weakening it. Doesn't make any sense to me. Go and answer the questions. And if they begin to infringe on your rights,
then let's see.
Then they have the rest of us to contend with.
All right then. Yesterday I think someone dropped a question before we left on the program yesterday, and I just I just remembered that.
I can't remember. What's the question again?
The president being the minister of petroleum, and when he get out of office, and nobody is. In his words, I think arresting or questioning them over what they did while they were in office.
Yeah, and it's a very good question. Asked in, like that, but it's a very good question. The first person who did this Minister of Petroleum thing was Chief Olusegun Obasanjo in office as president. And I wasn't comfortable with it. A lot of people were not comfortable with it.
The president.
People, on both sides said this and that. But if you understand Nigeria, the problem starts from not how to run the oil sector. It starts from who you are going to put there as minister.
Okay.
Now that's a big battle. As soon as you win election as president, as a matter of fact, before you win that election, you will see massive forces coming to say that's going to be our own office. Some people will say that's the only thing we want. We don't want any other ministerial appointment. We don't want, that's the only one we want. We are not asking you for any other thing. So it puts whoever is the president in a very difficult position. And you have to carry people along. Don't forget, it's your first term. So you are soon going to return to those powerful forces for second term. And this is politics. And if without politics, you don't become president. So even if you are the person with the best competence and the best intentions in life, you still have to become president, to push those intentions and to put your competence to work. So you have to play the politics. So people like you and I, who are not given to politics, we often, want to underplay that factor, that you should do the right thing. Well, politics and morality, they don't travel together. So the best thing in certain instances is to say, okay, I'm not giving it to anybody.
I'll take it myself.
If you guys are going to fight to the death, over this thing, and eventually whoever you give it to would turn you to an estranged person to the others you did not give it to. So you want to just hold it and, okay, that's the best thing. And you saw Chief Olusegun Obasanjo has been credited with very, very, heavy amount of native intelligence. So it's just like you have your kids fighting over something, and this is not something that could be shared. And so okay.
And just bother giving it to anybody.
I'm not giving anybody. So I think that is where it first comes from. And if you have not been in that situation, you might not be able to say precisely how it feels. It's a very, very intense kind of environment where, for instance, you have people from the Niger Delta saying, look, that is our own portfolio. You can't give it to anybody else.
Oil, it is ours.
And you have powerful northern interests saying, we've always been there. We want to. So it's difficult. And so he did that. And indeed, you've had, I think Goodluck Jonathan didn't use that style. And look what happened. The other problem is as minister and president, everything has to come to your table. It probably will be able to reduce whatever it is you don't want to be happening in that zone, because you will be fairly aware of what is going on. That's how it is supposed to be. But the Muhammadu Buhari administration, that position might even be tenuous a little bit. It didn't stop a lot of things going down there. This one, we don't know how it is going to turn out. In any case, at some point, because we reflect on these things very intensely, I have reflected on it, I've thought about this thing, and I've asked myself, why should I be asking for a minister of petroleum to be in place? Is he going to be a non-Nigerian? Is he going to come in with some factors that are not already? Is he going to be so sparkling clean as a person that he will be able to swim against this heavy tide? I don't think so. So I just give up. It's not the ideal thing to do. Now, the other part, the flip side of that question is, when they finish, nobody will ask them.
Nobody questions that.
Nigeria is a nation of nil consequence, zero consequence. It's not only the heads of state that would go away without being asked questions, but they are the foremost. Nobody ever asks any head of state anything. I mean, you can see the EFCC straying into the records of a former governor, ex-governor, and taking him to court. You can see some ministers going to court. You could see And just about anybody going to court. But the president, whether military or civilian, is a taboo. So nobody, but largely, let us look at it in about 23 years plus of being a democracy. How many governors have you seen in court after their tenure? They have, simply gone to their rest ground in the Senate, cross their legs and life continues. So we do not pursue consequences in this country. We do not, respect consequences. We don't factor it into almost anything.
Is that what the Constitution says?
Unless, of course, you step on certain toes. Then that Constitution you are talking about will jump to work.
Wow.
And it will start working. And indeed, the few governors, scanty few governors that have ever been tried in this country, if you go and check very well, they stepped on toes. It's not like somebody is interested in checking the records of all the governors from 1999 till date.
Well, if no toes were stepped on.
Yeah, if you step on some toes, you'll be whipped. Something will sting you. But if you just, chop, clean mouth, go quietly, you probably will be, 95, 96, 97% chances that you will be left alone.
That is our reality.
Don't you know?
That has been our reality.
But I'm sure you know that. I'm sure you know that.
Wow.
Otherwise, we will not be screaming of corruption every day. Every day, we're screaming that corruption is killing the country, is killing us all.
And it's not changing.
I know. Let's even assume that, okay, fine, it's not changing, but we are not even making attempts through the relevant agencies to say, and that's why I say, I don't know if the EFCC has enough to even do this thing. You have the center. I've never heard this EFCC say anything was wrong, in the presidency. And so I don't know if they have said so before, but...
or they want to probe.
Even if you happen on a minister, no matter how fresh and feminine, we just keep it quiet, everything will flow away. Isn't it? If Ibe Kachiku, as Minister of State, I think for petroleum, was screaming about $5 billion, so was screaming about $25 billion, so it's in the records. I'm not spinning this. Nobody said anything.
They were quiet.
Nobody said anything. That a particular something was signed by the president, they took it to the president to sign it on sickbed. And this is improper. The next time around, they removed him from the system. So, and, he will sprinkle some of these things when he moves around lecturing people these days. But that is life in Nigeria. Our reality is there is no consequence.
There is no consequence.
No consequence.
How do we get to the point when there would be consequence?
Okay. So, if, for instance, just imagine if you had state police.
Okay.
State police is going to be handling certain things within the states. You understand? So, because everybody will go from the state, don't forget, they just don't appear suddenly. So, if you had criminal tendencies at the state, you probably would have been checkmated before you graduate to the center.
By state police, not governor police.
A lot of things would have been happening at the state levels that you'll probably find it difficult, because you must have been something in the state before you move on to. So I believe that the state police would do a lot of things. But largely, if you want to do that total re-engineering seriously, restructuring is it.
All right.
If you restructure, we have a chance.
Okay, then. Let's go pay some bills now. When we're back, we'll continue the conversation. I'll be picking it up from the issue of the protesters Yes, the End Bad Governance protesters. When they say we still have over 1,400 protesters nationwide in police custody. We'll be back.
Akidibo 88.7 FM.
Babies are God's gifts to parents, and breast milk is God's gift to babies. It contains all the important nutrients and minerals your baby needs, including water, for the first 6 months. Give your baby breast milk only. Remember, breast milk only for the first 6 months. This message is from the Anrin Project or your state's Ministry of Health.
I'm in love. Sonia tomato mix, stand up. Easy to open, easy to squeeze, easy to scoop and easy to stir.
Sonia tomato mix in a new standard pouch.
When you wake up in the morning, you wanna start your day. Start with Kellogg's, It is tasty and nutritious. That's why we start our days with Kellogg's, So you can reach your race, stay active and alert. Start your day right, 'cause breakfast time is Kellogg's time.
I always want what's best for my family. That's why we ensure we start our day with a Kellogg's breakfast, fortified with essential vitamins and minerals to stay active and alert to reach your grace.
'Cause breakfast time is Kellogg's time.
Hero Hunter bike is here again. Better motorcycle, we go serve you well. 18 months, warranty, and 18 months, warranty. Hero Hunter bike, 18 months, warranty. Hero Hunter bike, better buy to serve you well. Hero Hunter bike, save money and save your fuel. Hero Hunter bike, get 18 months warranty.
Akidibo 88.7 FM.
All right, we're back, and the conversation before we left was concerning the protesters and bad governance protesters, because according to this report, they said we still have over 1,400 protesters nationwide in police custody. One of their lawyers, Mr. Deji Ajayanju, while speaking, said that the police has refused to arraign protesters in custody again, because they were supposed to do that Monday before, and then yesterday again, it still didn't happen. And according to him, he said that they also refused to disclose the charge against these protesters. What are they being charged for? They said, we were told, according to him in court, we told them to avail us the charge on Monday, which they said they would, but they didn't. We told them to avail us of the charge on Tuesday. They refused again. And he said, could it be that their offenses was just protesting? Can protesting just be an offense? And also he talked about the fact that it seems as if the federal government is playing game of suppression on protesters. Over 1,400 protesters still in custody across the nation. Maestro.
Okay, so indulge me to, before I go on with that, make some comments here.
All right.
And my Lord Bishop Fontaine Vivante, thank you for watching all the time and listening. He says politics and morality are not parleys at all, and that some tools are quite big to step on, which are both true. So thank you. And I also want to thank KC Loyalty Show and Kitty for sending these gifts, they call it on TikTok.
On TikTok.
So thank you very much. And I also want to urge everyone listening to us that you can follow me on TikTok. That's Dotun _Maestro. Dotun _Maestro. Now, Mr. Adeji Adeyanju might not be the best person to be representing these people. You see, he has made himself known as an activist
Yes.
who is dead set against, the administration, against government generally. So it's not wise because he simply continues with activism. So a lawyer that comes into that space would not have that kind of baggage. And so you could have more results, a better result than he is having. Because the police might even be looking at him that you should even be among them because you spearheaded the thing anyway. And you didn't have the capacity to keep it cool, but you insisted that they must do it on the streets in Abuja. I saw the clips where he was, confronting policemen who said the court said go inside the stadium and hold it there, and he insisted that it must be held on the streets. That after all, they were already in front of the stadium, and that's what the judgment implied. So they are probably looking at him like, you should be with the rest of them in detention. So I believe that people should have lawyers who are without that kind of baggage, who are not seen as perpetual enemies of government, whether it is Tinubu government, whether it's Buhari government. At least it's been consistent in that regard. So maybe someone who's actively practicing law and could be a better representative. That's number one. Number two, I believe, and very strongly too, that by now, these people should have been charged to court. It's not what, if you won't charge them to court, there has to be a court order saying, okay, you have 1 more week, you have 2 more weeks, or whatever it is. The court should be in the picture by now. So I believe that the police is doing the wrong thing by holding people. If you could hold somebody 24 hours more than the law says, 48 hours, and so on, you could hold them forever. And right now, we're still talking about protesters during the EndSARS thing. Some of them are still in detention.
Since then.
So maybe, is that what you're planning for these ones too? And if you, for instance, if you arrested people just because they were kind of aggressive during the protests, and they did not commit any crime, it's about time you let them go.
Because that's what he's asking. Is protesting a crime?
Yeah, protesting might not be a crime. I don't think he's in the right position to be asking those questions. A lot of things were destroyed because of people like him. Look, you have to be responsible in any position of leadership. If I'm going to say I'm leading people out, I should be able to say fairly that nothing will go wrong. But these are the people who called for nationwide strike, and they lack the capacity to even run their local governments. They cannot even do something in a ward without it going wrong. Yet, they flagrantly said nationwide strike, nationwide strike. You see, nationwide has a meaning. It's not just a word. When you say nationwide, you're talking about the whole country of Nigeria is one of the largest countries in the world by land mass and population. So you sit on your bed and you are typing nationwide strike in your bedroom without any kind of capacity to ensure that when you marched, everything will be under control. And every time we talk about this thing, they keep pointing at Occupy Nigeria, Did anybody burn anything? Did anybody steal anything there? I was there. Not as, a participant, but as a reporter. So, and everything was coordinated, and they did not say nationwide. They said Occupy Nigeria. and they went to a modest place where they knew that they could control things. So I do not believe that recklessness and unbridled aggression is also part of activism.
But Maestro, now we still have over 1,400.
That's what we have been talking about.
And then they said what they told them before was that they were going to be arraigned on Monday, and then from Monday they said, oh, Tuesday, and from Tuesday now they're saying.
So what did I say about all those things?
And you said that is not right.
So what did I say further? I said you cannot keep people there, that the court has to be in the picture. So you can add yours to that.
And now it's more or less like they're trying to connect this with Joe Ajairo's arrest. They're saying they are trying to link Ajairo.
There is no connection.
And because
as yet,
NLC.
because we have to be responsible. We cannot say because some people are being irresponsible, we also have to be irresponsible. There is no connection as yet. Because the police has not come out to say, this is what Joe Ajairo did, or what we suspect him of doing, that we're, inviting him. So when we know that, there might be a connection. Until then, there is no connection. Because don't forget, they took all these people in before, they started their Ajairo thing.
Yes.
But if there's a connection, we will know. And I believe in about 24 hours. Because you can't call him in and then put him in your cell without Nigerians knowing what he did. If you did that, then you have to go to court almost immediately. And that's why I said he's in good hands. If it's Mr. Falana,
yes.
Leading the charge for them, everything will be handled properly.
All right then. Let us open the phone lines for people to join in the conversation right now. 0704 1001 887 or +234 704 700 8873. But before then, let's listen to this because our conversation in the studio must be civil and well guided. All right then.
Thank you for your attention. It's been lovely to have you keeping it locked on Agidigbo 88.7 FM. Now is the time to join in the conversation, to have the word, hear your voice, because we are the people's voice. Meanwhile, while you contribute to this program, kindly note that in accordance with broadcasting ethics, you are requested to keep your contributions modest, truthful, concise, and not offensive, inflammatory, or with tendencies to cause discomfort to anyone. Thank you. Now, let the conversation begin.
All right. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Wuraola Yusuff. God bless you.
All right. So your name and where you're calling from?
This is Sayo from Ibadan.
Your contribution, sir.
Where I pray God will save this country. Right from Olo Shauko down to UI yesterday evening, where we have hundreds of filling stations. You can only see when I was coming, less than 10 that open for selling. And you will see how people are jam-packed in those filling stations. 900, 950, nothing less than that. Where is the function of government? Are we going to blame marketer or somebody or NFPC or whatever? That's one. You see, you're Nigeria. We all know what is happening in this country. Most of the time, the police will be asking the state of who, the power that be that said them what they have to do, not what they're supposed to do. That's what is happening with the police. So, as we speak now, there is oppression, there is suffering, people are making noise here and there. These people did not want anybody to say anything. How do we go, where do we go from here? You see, the problem is when we have deceitful and insincerity in governance, things like this will happen.
All right.
So people talk things will change. Nothing is changing. It's going once from bad to worse.
All right. Thank you so much for your contributions. Like I said earlier, we should be careful with our utterances. 0704 1001 887 or +234 704 700 8873. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Good morning to your name and where you're calling from.
Good morning. I'm Alaji Tunde Olayiwola from Akubo.
Your contribution,
Nice to see
Alaji.
you this morning. You see, police suspicion of Ajero. If Ajero has committed any offense, and they have reasonable belief that he has evidence that can assist them, I think they have the right to invite him. But, you know, Nigerian police have credibility and integrity question. That is why people are fearing. And also, the last burglary of NSC house without warrant is creating another fear on the minds of Nigerians and even the NSC. But to me, I do not believe that NSC should go all out to strike that will compound the already bad situation. We who are innocent will be affected. They should reconsider their stand on that. Let Ajero go with his lawyer to the police and attend to police invitation. Then again, Nigerians are suffering. We are suffering. No petrol station except NNPC are selling yesterday. Go all out. You will see. When will this stop?
Do you mean in your area, Alaji?
Yes.
Okay.
From my area to gate. It's only NNPC. The others are not selling. They don't have. So where do we go? When will this end? Let government do the needful. The suffering is too much. Economy is being affected. God bless you. God bless your day.
All right. Thank you so much, Alaji. Sincerely appreciate your call, your contribution. Ayuade Adeyemi says, the comment on the Facebook page from Ayuade Adeyemi says, above all, restructuring is the only solution to the present economic hardship ravaging our country, Nigeria. May God heal our land. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. This is George from Oluseyi Junction in Ibadan.
All right.
All right. If I still have right to my opinion, I feel the major issue here in this country, firstly, we always see this, we'll be agitating for this to restructure this country. And the moment we start advocating restructuring, we should set aside, God will help us to do it. God will help us to do it. The more we put everything in the hand of God, the more we will still not know the right thing to do. Enough of all this. Everybody should make it of it on their status, on WhatsApp, on every social media. Restructuring. I'll be doing that, and I have a platform for that. I'm saying it, like I said that openly, I still have the rights to that. On my platform, I have a platform for that already. Let's advocate that and stop God every day. Good morning.
Thank you so much, Mr.
I have something to say there because I've heard that a lot of times. The truth is, there's nothing wrong with adding God to your efforts. If you believe in God, you cannot divorce that from whatever it is you're doing. You know, that we're people of belief. And you see, I agree with you that people have not come into that consciousness yet. That is why, even when you say this is wrong, they still want you to say it the way they will say it is wrong. Meanwhile, it's wastage. We're wasting a lot of energy, you know, as the ordinary people, the regular people in this country, because it's going to take us a longer time to get there. Restructuring is the thing. Whether you have a queue, you don't have queue. You have. Since when have we been grappling with queues? We grappled with queues right through Buhari administration. Right through Buhari administration, and we bought fuel for how much? You know, we bought fuel for 900 naira during Buhari administration. 900 naira. We bought, then he scaled down to, before he left, I think about 750 before he left. So I'm thinking about how people are even thinking that this is going to be about individual government administration, or it's going to be about an individual person. When you know that it is systemic, it's happening to you consistently right through different administrations, but you are still stuck on people. You're stuck on persons. It's tiring, sincerely, because we cannot We can't fix how we think.
Exactly.
So, unfortunately, if we could fix it, we probably would have done something about that. But it's so apparent that what is happening to us is consistent. It is consistent. It's
Right
a
through
system.
administration.
It's a system. We are
Hello.
approaching it as persons.
Good morning, ma.
Good morning, sir. Your name and where you're calling from?
Good morning, Prof.
Good morning.
My name is Olatunde Sarafatin from Akinyele. How do you do, my boss?
Good and grateful.
We thank God Almighty Allah. Metro, question to you this morning, as I've been following you for decades. Metro, you say the system will not pay for anybody. The system practiced in this country will not pay for everybody. And then people refuse to clamoring for resourcing. You made mention of something, powerful northern of this country. How can a president pass the law, the power of president, pass the power of the law in this country? When the president leaves office, nobody to ask him anything. There's no consequence. A country like this can they move forward? And then I asked you a question a year ago, that a bleeding nation, what is going to result to that a bleeding nation? Or a bleeding body, human being that is bleeding? Because you told me that Nigeria is bleeding every day and night. How can a bleeding nation proceed? Good morning, Metro.
Thank you so much for your contribution.
So I over the years, I've had a lot of the parables or ways of presenting the Nigerian situation, and that's one of the ones I presented. You know, that Nigeria bleeds every day, and if we don't stop the bleeding, it will bleed to death. But the other one I also show at all times, you know, I've forgotten about this one, you reminded me, is that it's like a ball. When we were kids, we would buy this rubber ball, and every time we played and it got punctured by, you know, a nail or some sharp object, we'll go to the repairer. In those days, we have bicycle repairers, and the bicycle repairer will patch it for us. So we go and play again. Anytime it happens, we'll go back there. So it will get to a point, the bicycle repairer on an occasion will look at us and say, you can't patch this ball anymore. You know, it's and what we have been doing with Nigeria right through the years is we've been patching. We have patched so many times that we are getting close, dangerously close to the point that we could no longer patch this ball. When that is going to be, I do not know. I have said it. It's either we restructure Nigeria now, or Nigeria will restructure itself. And I fear if restructuring forces itself on us, I fear a lot, you know, for that. Because I don't know how that one would happen.
Olajide Monsoro says the so-called removal of subsidy was unequivocal. It's laughable that now that Nigerians are neck deep in the effects of the removal, it then becomes largely, technically, massively removed. The implication of this is another government that will come to remove its subsidy.
No, you see, the problem with this thing is that we lack focus. When we are talking Iru, people will be talking Iru. The point here is not so... Look, when Buhari was paying subsidies, was it coming to you? It wasn't coming to you because we were paying 750 naira. I said we bought oil, we bought petrol for 900 during Buhari administration.
There was subsidy.
The subsidy that was paid in that month, did it come to you? The people who are cornering subsidy are the fat cats. It does not come to us. We still go through the difficulties that we go through every day. But somehow, you know, somebody simply believes that, the fuel subsidy, because so many of us don't even understand what this fuel subsidy is.
All right. Totolokwadeyemi says, investigating the NLC president, Joe Ajaro, is good. But I hope the same energy will be used to revive our refineries, especially the one in Port Harcourt, so that we can come out of this economic hardship at once and then roll out the CNG buses they promised. All right, then, moving on from that comment of Tolokwadeyemi. Vikrula says, this morning I bought petrol for 9.15 naira per litre. Yes, already talked about something like that yesterday.
It is there.
John Akerele says the federal government is playing a blind game. Terrorists are everywhere in Nigeria. They have no will to confront them. They want to link end bad governance protests to NLC.
That is not true that terrorists are everywhere. It's not a valid statement. This is a very big conversation. We are talking to millions of people. So we shouldn't be amplifying falsehood.
Adebayo Job says, on a gyro issue, this would be a great lesson to whoever wants to assume leadership of the union, that you have to be neutral to politics of the land. He must learn lesson from his predecessors.
He does not have to have his rights breached because he played politics.
Whether partisan or not. John Akerele says, instead of federal government to correct the wrongs that led to end bad governance protests, they rather chose to reach home to their target. All right, then. Let us move on from that one. And Sam says, let's be sincere with ourselves. Nigeria likes to walk on what is not so necessary. Imagine taking on protesters and also want to take them to court. Why can't they take those repentant bandits to court? Come on, Nigerians fighting for their rights you want to take to court. Imagine the country we are. All right, then. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Your name or where you're calling from?
My name is Bachid. I'm calling from Basha.
All right, your contribution.
Yeah, I want to make a correction to what MAESTRO said yesterday. I tried calling in yesterday, but I couldn't get in.
Okay.
The Osibanjo helicopter that crashed was not part of the presidential fleet. It was a charter flight belonging to Covington.
No,
So
it was two occasions. Yes, you're right about one of them. The other one was a presidential craft. But yes, one was chartered. That's true.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution, sir. 0704 1001 887 or plus 234 704 700 8873.
In
All
any
right.
case, if we had a good one, should he be chartering flights? The vice president.
Idris Adisa says, "A morning where I kindly ask a maestro, is there any difference between Deji representing protesters and police custody and Femi Falana SAN in context of being a lawyer and leading protests?"
There's a huge difference. You see, the activism of Mr. Femi Falana, is a very responsible kind of activism. We grew up knowing that. And he also has a very visible practice. He has a very visible practice. We know he's an eminent lawyer. So, it's even like an insult comparing the two things.
All right, then. Thank you. 0704 1001 887. But before we continue the conversation, let's go pay some bills. We'll be back.
Akidibo 88.7 FM.
ọmọ títún jòjòló òkú oríire má jáfara o gbọ́dọ̀ sọmọ lẹ́nu láàrin wákàtí kan àkọ́kọ́ tọmọ délé ayé láti fún un ní àkọ́kọ́ sí omi ọyàn aláwọ̀ òféèfé yẹn tí wọ́n ń pè ní kolostrum. àkọ́kọ́ sí omi ọyàn kolostrum yìí ní gbogbo èròjà pàtàkì tọmọ rẹ nílò láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ìlera pípé.
ó sì ń ṣèrànlọ́wọ́ láti dènà àrùn fọ́mọ rẹ.
rántí o fọ́mọ rẹ lọ́yàn láàrin wákàtí kan àkọ́kọ́ tó o bímọ.
ìkéde yìí wá láti àkànṣeṣẹ́ ARIN iléeṣẹ́ tó ń mójútó ètò ìlera ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́.
Guys, let's go and get seats at that table with Semovita.
Sorry, this table is reserved for the bride's family.
Do you know who I am? I'm the older brother of the sister's last uncle who married their first cousin.
Everybody wants to sit at the Golden Penny Semovita table. Golden Penny Semovita remains my soup's first choice. It's made from premium wheat and fortified with vitamins and minerals to provide a wholesome bowl food that pairs well with Nigerian soups. Golden Penny Semovita, my soup's first choice.
I'm in love. Sonia tomato mix, stand up. Easy to open, easy to squeeze, easy to scoop and easy to stir.
Sonia tomato mix in a new stand-up pouch.
Yo, it's time to switch up your streaming and social media experiences. Introducing the Glow My G bundle, the first all-in-one social and music bundle. It's the perfect bundle for texting, snapping, streaming, sharing, vibing, and everything you love doing online. With My G bundle, you get the data deals for Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, WhatsApp, Boomplay, Audiomack, and Glow TV, all in one bundle. Now you can make every naira count with affordable all-in-one data bundles with Glow My G. Get 1 gigabyte for 300 naira, 1.5 gigabyte for 500 naira, and 3.5 gigabytes for 1,000 naira on the Glow My G bundle. Plus, you also get 1 hour of free browsing on your favorite apps. That's Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, WhatsApp, Boomplay, Audiomack, and Glow TV. Dial star 312 hash to start making every naira count with the Glow My G bundle. T's and C's apply.
Glow Unlimited.
We can protect your car, your savings.
Let's not make it boring. Let's make insurance a lifestyle. If you've ever wished your insurance offered you more, then you're in good hands with Hares Insurance Group. In addition to our extensive insurance coverage, you can also enjoy free benefits such as networking opportunities, up to 10% discount on hotels, gyms, spas, and your favorite stores, tickets to exclusive events, and free resources to plan your future. So, next time someone asks you, what does your insurance company give you, sir? Your answer should be with Hess Insurance Group. Definitely much more than insurance.
To enjoy all these, sign up on www.hairsinsurancegroup.com. That is HEIRS. Hairs Insurance Group. Simple life is here.
Akidibo 88.7 FM.
All right, you're welcome back. Idrissa Adisa, thanks for your comment. And Mr. Olajide Monsuru, apologies if you feel offended. Adexi Bixologist says, the problem is that we still do not have a sincere leader. We are just throwing up excuses for them. The president said he understands the problem before he got there. He's now doing another thing.
You see, that's what all politicians say. That's what Donald Trump said.
Before they get to the office.
That's what Obasanjo said. Look, I was, you know, as a reporter, I sat across Chief Olusegun Obasanjo on the eve of his becoming Nigerian president. I was saying, you know, we asked a lot of questions when it got to, sir, what's your blueprint for the Nigerian economy? He said, I see that this interview is over. You don't have any more questions to ask. We closed everything.
Wow.
He got there, he did his best. Did he do everything he promised he was going to do? The person who followed him, who said his election was flawed, that is how we have come to this point. And that's why we are saying, I don't like talking about all these components, because the smarter thing to consider is the silver bullet, which is the solve all, you know, solution, and which is restructuring. But rather than people of this generation coming together in their ranks, they play one-upmanship. You know, what soundbite is going to, what could I post that will sound, you know, fine, and that's all you do.
And get Elon's money.
It doesn't win you the battle. It doesn't win you the war. The greater thing to reflect on is, you know, what you are going to do for the coming generation. Because, look, for my generation, I believe is gone. When we were much younger and Professor Wole Soyinka wrote about the wasted generation, that his generation was wasted, we didn't really catch what he was saying. But now I know what he was saying. Now every generation since then had been wasted. So if you are going to now waste your own too, as some of us sweat to ensure that these kids, we should leave everything on the field for them. And all you do is to find some small, you know, smart remarks. It doesn't take you anywhere. It could make you feel good about yourself for a moment, you know, but it's not going to bring that pump price to where you want it to be. And more importantly, it's not going to set up that kind of society that you want. So you should link hands with people like you know, that you are writing all these small posts. Link energy, synergize, and be behind restructuring. Because that is the only boss out of this town. When, you know, the proverbial shit hits the ceiling, that's what's going to happen. And you better start preparing for it. Time, Wura, this president might not be around. Some of us might not even be around. It's going to be your thing. And then what are you then going to do? You will be pushing your posts on telephone.
All right, Olajide Monstro says, if subsidy doesn't get to Nigerians, whose fault is that? Who stops giving his kids pocket money because he's careless enough to give the money to wrong people?
What you don't understand is that we all owned the money. The entire oil was 100% our own. That's where you are coming from. But you don't ever go back enough. This generation, you will not go and find out, the root cause of your problem. You only look around when you wake up. Okay, this is the problem of the day. You pinpoint, you go.
Not going
That's
back to
not
the roots.
where it came from. The oil was yours before. What happened? What happened? Why is it no longer yours? Why has 50 something percent gone on to other people? And the remaining 45 or so or 55% that you claim to have as Nigerians, who actually owns them? You had the NNPC saying, we made 3 point something trillion, and so we are going to declare dividends of 2 trillion. So who are those who are going to get the dividends? And you are sitting down there pushing your phone.
All right, Adedayo Akintola says, nothing wrong with a president, with Nigeria Police Force inviting NLC president. He's also a Nigerian like you and I. Let him go with his lawyers to honor the invitation instead of NLC shutting down the country's economy. Let's see if we can take one more calls before we leave this morning. 07041001887. Olalere Bayonle says, thanks to our reputable, accurate analysis of newspaper headlines, above all, restructuring is the only solution we need in this country. May God heal our land. Maestro, Ondo establishes Amotekun Rangers to curb forest crime. So you have to say to this.
Well, I hope, it's a temporary measure. But we must commend Amotekun and the governors, especially Ondo and Oyo. In those two states, they have really done well. And, the crisis of insecurity has, somewhat reduced, seriously. So we commend them for doing that.
All right, then. Your pattern shot, Maestro.
I just, every waking moment, I want this generation, much younger, to come together among themselves. Keep linking hands, just in case we are not able to do it for them. We will not relent. We will keep pushing for restructuring, but just in case we are not able to do it for them, they should, reduce all these small ideas, small convictions, daily doses, and move on to something greater, which is identifying restructuring as the solution, to many of the problems they are going through. And it's going to get worse, though. All these ones that you are typing, it will get worse. So you better just buckle up and link hands so that you can press seriously for restructuring. Because the politician is going to come round again and he's going to talk to you the way he talks.
Sweet talk.
It's not sweet talking. It's make-believe.
Wow.
You see, and everybody knows it. But he will program himself into office again. And then you start the cycle again. Every 4 years, his life and the lives of his family members get better. If you go and look at yours, you know what I'm talking about. But if you keep believing that these small posts is what will take you there, one-upmanship, small tackles, it won't. So it's just my piece of advice for you this morning.
All right. Thank you so much, Maestro. We sincerely appreciate that. Tomorrow we'll be back again to talk about our great nation, Nigeria. My name is Wuraola Yusuff, and I shall be doing this with a Maestro tomorrow again. Have a nice day.